Bienvenidos to Humans in Accounting, the podcast where we pause the AI buzz for a minute and focus on the real humans behind the numbers. We chat with founders and leaders to hear their journey, what drives them, and the important things in life. Because behind every balance sheet, there's a story worth telling. Humans in Accounting is brought to you by South Offices. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Humans in Accounting, where firm owners share their story behind the spreadsheets. As you should know by now, I'm Alex Roman, and this podcast is brought to you by South Offices, connecting accounting talent across borders. Today's guest is Jeremy Van Groll. I'm really happy just to have you, Jeremy. He's the owner and president at Nonprofit Bookkeeping, co-host also at Unaccountable Podcast, and a great human being. Jeremy, it's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to Humans in Accounting.
Hey, yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here. And we clearly haven't spent enough time together if you're calling me a great human being at this point. But I'm really excited to chat today, Alex.
That is true. We didn't have enough time, but maybe with this, the time that I met you, I can say that. Maybe in a couple of years, maybe I changed my mind. But no, definitely, you're a great person. I'm happy that we're doing this podcast together. We actually met now a few weeks now. Maybe it's more like a month ago. Yeah, in Scaling New Heights.
Yeah, in sunny Orlando. We even got to see each other in bathing suits, and we're still friends.
That's right. Actually, that's the first time we were almost naked, and that's how we met each other.
Where can better bonds be made than nearly naked in a swimming pool with a Mai Tai, right?
Absolutely. Actually, Tyler, I was talking with Tyler, and he introduced us. You were familiar because, as you know, I'm one of your subscribers. I watched the Unaccountable Podcast. And then I just went for the first time because Kate invited me just to the pool, and we were able to hang out. I'm happy that we hang out there and Scaling New Heights. Jeremy, it's nice to have you. I would like if you can tell me a little bit about and tell us all listeners a little bit about your background, how you started, like everything until you came here to Humans in Accounting. That'll.
I hope you have a good editor to edit most of that out. No, I appreciate it. So I started like my professional career in banking, but then pretty much held just about any financial role that you could have at a corporation, from credit management to corporate accounting, procurement management, project management as a financial manager, and ended up being at a large public packaging company firm that ended up being acquired. And my job as a financial manager on the project management team was to calculate the synergies of this acquisition, which pretty much means how many people are getting fired and the savings that the company was going to have. And that didn't feel good, nor did some of the other decision making that was happening there, which really focused on like, how do we inflate quarterly numbers to make sure we're reaching our financial goals and earnings per share target and all of that? So while this was going on, I actually negotiated myself to be part of the synergies for this organization, saying that I'll help you guys support this, but I would like to move on. And it was probably a year prior to that, I had already started my bookkeeping business, taking the bookkeeper launch course that Ben Robinson had, that Jaime now owns. And really just, it seemed very quickly that I really liked working with smaller organizations. I was not niched originally, but then my wife is a program director at a local nonprofit here. So we have a pretty good network in that area. And my first client or two were nonprofits. So kind of went all in, starting in about 2018. And so been at it a few years. Now have a firm that has about 23 employees and getting to be 100 clients, give or take. And some of those employees are part-time. But really excited to be where we are and have a great team.
That's great. I have a question on that because you said that the first few clients were non-profits. You had the name already or before? I want to know, if it was first the name and then you said, or first the clients and say, hey, I want to specialize in nonprofit.
Yeah, no, it was not. I did have another name initially.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the bookkeeping course that I took, it was very specific, like get out yourself out there and niche right away. And that's always a hard decision to make, right? You're thinking like,
Yeah.
hey, but I'm going to turn away this potential client and this potential client and whatnot. And eventually it was like, I really felt good being able to use my accounting skill to help the nonprofit organizations, which historically just aren't well staffed, right? So you have people in there wearing a ton of hats and doing a ton of things, and they're also not the on the cutting edge of technology by any means. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of things where we could make some efficiencies and really get them some great information that they haven't been able to have before for decision making. So then I decided, yep, I'm going to niche. And I happened to go out on the GoDaddy or whatever. And I'm like,
Yeah.
nonprofitbookkeeping.com. I'm like, oh, really? That's available and not $20,000? I'm going to buy that and let's just go all in. And yeah, completely go all in on nonprofits. It's been a blessing.
That's great. And let me ask you then this other question. What happens? I'm sure that, or I'm not sure. You tell
Yeah.
me if
Yeah.
this is something that happened or not. Maybe you have another company or some client that was recommended that it's not a nonprofit that had heard good things about you and they want to work with you. Do you work with them or you say, hey, sorry, we don't work with you guys? How does that work?
Yeah, very few. So like originally we took on anyone, right? And we
Okay.
still have a few just legacy clients where they're just great people and we figured them out and love working with them. And now we also will work with organizations that are nonprofit adjacent. So there are certain people where like they have their own consulting firms where they do grant writing, or I'm blanking on another good example, but we will work with them. But it's funny though, even once you kind of go in and with a name like nonprofit bookkeeping, you don't get a lot of other people that aren't in the
Exactly.
nonprofit space reaching out for you too. So we have that going for us that, 99.9% of any of the contacts that we make, unless they're from a close friend, are all really in our niche.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But I was just curious if that ever happened, or yeah, you have a recommendation of a friend or someone. Hey, Jeremy, you can help me out with the books or something. So great. Let me ask you, if I ask you for one milestone, one significant achievement you had in all these years, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, I think I have two. The first one is like I was a well compensated financial manager at a public company, right? So I walked
Okay.
away from a pretty lucrative salary and all that. So my first one is I wanted to replace my salary, right? And was
Okay.
able to do that. And once I totally went all in on everything, probably year two or maybe year three, mid year three, right? Where I was able to supplement that income. I'm still working on supplementing the benefits that I had at that company, but at least like the baseline wage. So that was kind of the first one and the early one. And then after that, it was, and again, all these numbers are abstract, but for some reason, when you hit $1 million of like annual recurring revenue, right, it just feels like a win. Like I had my own little thermometer thing where I was like, oh, we added a client, it takes us there, whatnot. So
Right.
when we got to that $1,000 a month of monthly recurring revenue that goes to $1 million, that was pretty exciting for me. So um, now you never can be complacent though. So now we have a short-term one that we're not at 100 active clients yet. And so we'd love to get that within the next, 4 or 5 months here. And then probably that $2 million one is probably the next one. It's like, that would be a cool thing to get to.
Okay, okay, yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, hopefully you can get so maybe before the end of the year, that could be like a goal just to reach those 100. You said 100 clients.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be a goal. And yeah, we see what makes out. We don't have a lot of, thankfully have a lot of retention issues, right? With nonprofits, it's all relationship based, right? And so you're everybody worried about AI and things taking all of this. If you are relationship based, I sleep very well at night knowing that if we can do and deliver a great product, that we're going to stay with them for a long time. Yeah, it's definitely a good goal. It would be aggressive, but would be a pretty good thing to celebrate come New Year's on 26.
Absolutely. Let me just change of subject. I don't know how familiar you are. I started this podcast recently. I don't have over 50 episodes like you guys, but hopefully I'll get there. My plan is just to get to episode 100 and have a ranking of like the top food of humans in accounting. So basically, I'm asking this direct question that I'm going to ask you as well. That it has nothing to do with your company, but it has to do with something that I'm passionate about. That it's food. Direct question: What's your favorite food?
Hands down, tacos in some format. So I am the type of person, and I die on this hill, where you can take just about any kind of food that includes protein, add
Okay.
cheese to it, put it in a tortilla, throw some hot sauce on it, and it's going to be delicious. So my wife thinks I'm absolutely ridiculous in this, but she'll make like a, I don't know, like a sausage and peppers dish, and the next day I'm like, ooh, leftovers, and I'll heat that up, throw some cheese, some hot sauce on it, eat that thing. Yeah, delicious. So I can do that every day, all day. And just, don't you get sick of it? No, I really don't.
It can never go wrong. I've got, I think, like one other guest who said, "I'm gonna. Is it okay if we say Mexican food?" Yeah. So that we have. I think that now we have like two votes for Mexican food. Have you been to Mexico?
Very briefly, so we had a cruise. I've been on two cruises that stopped in Cozumel. One of them was my honeymoon, and then
Hmm.
the other one was with a dear friend when she turned 50 last year, that we had to stop in Cozumel. I don't know if Costa Maya, is that in Mexico too, or is that a separate? I think it is.
Costa, I have no idea. Cozumel, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so you went to that cruise. I'm asking this specifically because I also enjoy Mexican food. As you know, I'm Argentinian. In Argentina, we have really good food, and I can talk all day that we are the best in everything because Argentinians, we have like this big ego. But as far as spicy, we don't eat spicy. I like spicy,
Okay. Yeah.
but I like spicy for an Argentinian person. So I was in Mexico for a few months, and I remember going there and just I need just to clarify, hey, I don't want like spicy like Mexico, because if not, that's
Uh,
it's definitely an issue for me. But yeah, I can also appreciate Mexican food. Perfect. Thank
I'm so
you.
disappointed in you. I feel like you should really embrace the spicy food. I think I actually grew up on a farm, on a dairy farm
Uh-huh.
here in Wisconsin. Every dinner was whatever was growing in the garden, or a steak or beef in some sort and format, because when the beef got low in the freezer, suddenly Miss Cow Bessie was just gone and the freezer's full again. So I
Right.
never had that kind of food growing up. So I think that's why once I had it and got spices and things in it, I just really went to the Mexican food.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Perfect. Let me. I wanna ask you. As far as your podcast, I'm intrigued. Like how you started. Was it an idea? Tyler for a long time. Hey, we need just to do a podcast, and you started it. I'm interested mainly because, well, here we are in humans in accounting, and I had my story saying, hey, I think it's a good idea, and I started with the first episode. It was definitely not as good as this one, but yeah, you tell me a little bit about that story. I'm curious. I want to know.
Yeah, well, we have a group of like firm owners, probably about 20 of us, that slowly grow once we accept newbies into our tribe, right? But just are very caring, very open with each other. We've gone on a couple of what we call bookkeepers gone wild trips to like Key West and some other places, where we just get to hang out and work on our businesses and share great ideas. And Tyler was a recent ad in that, and by recent I mean like 3 or 4 years ago,
Okay.
and came in, and probably the second time I met him, he said that something like, we should start a podcast sometime, and I kind of laughed it off, and I was like, yeah, it's really not a bad idea, right, to get your name out there and share the things that you want to share and learn and teach people and all of that. And then I think it was the next time that we were together in person, he was like, no, really, I want to do a podcast together. And I'm like, cool. And he sent me this idea. So if you don't know Unaccountable, it's really like all based about accounting news and updates and all that too. But it's really a game show format. So like we love playing games, we love sharing memes, we love making each other laugh. So it's really based on that. And he came up with that idea, and I was like, yeah, now I'm in. Right? Like that to me sounds uber fun. And we both have faces that are very perfect for radio and podcasts.
Agree.
So thank you for that.
No, 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 definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, right. And then we actually have a good friend. Alyssa Lang, who goes by the Workflow Queen and just does amazing workflow resources for accounting firms. And she had one going. So we just kind of sat down with her and be like, how'd you start this? Right. So she connected us with her producer or editor and also told us the tools that she used. So we just went down and made a plan. And yeah, it's been a year and a few months now because we do it fortnightly, as we like to say. But yeah, I think we're on episode 55 or 56. And it's honestly, it's probably more work than more podcasts because we do a lot of prep work getting together games for each other, but it's so fun, right? If we can stump each other or like throw each other for a loop for things and also teach accounting things, yeah, just it's a ton of fun.
For listeners and people watching in the future, I definitely recommend you can go ahead and follow Jeremy and Tyler at Unaccountable Podcast. That's a good question. Like, you actually prepare all the questions. You have meetings and say, hey, I think this question would be great. Yeah, you do that.
Yeah, we do. The part that we like really passionate to us, and I don't listen to a ton of other podcasts other than this one and Unaccountable.
Of course, yeah.
But the ones that I've always enjoyed too are like where you have people that just genuinely enjoy being each other's company and playing off of that. So like that was something that was important to us, and you just kind of feel their energy, right? Like it just brings you in knowing that you can feel how much they enjoy talking to each other. But also like the gameplay aspect just requires you to do some prep, right? Like we always want to make sure it's in that format, and we're still teaching. Somehow Earmark allows us to get CPE credits out to listeners as well, and they love us, but they hate us because we do all the work for them because all the questions are made already. But I always feel like that we're the redheaded stepchild of the Earmark family. Is that we have them and they get good listens, but probably not going to be their flagship accounting podcast quite yet.
But hold on, yeah. So basically, like earn CPA credits by listening to. And how? I'm sorry, I'm not a CPA. I'm not American. So how does that work? Because I can go and say, hey, I watched. That they trust you, or you need just to show. Look, it's already finished the episode. Sorry if this is a stupid question, but I'm curious again.
I'm sorry if I give a stupid answer because I'm not a CPA either.
Okay.
But I do know, like, so you have to obviously have some many hours of CPE learning every year, right?
Right.
And as long as you have a educational format where you're passing along information that first of all, I believe there is some kind of indication that you are there for the whole time or like listen to the whole thing. And you could put us at 2 times, that's fine, right? 2 times speed, but that you're there. And then there is a questionnaire at the end, right? Like you have to answer 10 questions.
Okay.
Based on the information that's provided. And I think you got to get 6 or 7 right. I'm told no idea if that's correct, but you have to get some amount of them right, and then you can get an email that will actually count towards your CPE credits.
Okay. No, that's reasonable, and that makes sense. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Tell me a little bit about the future. What are the plans for the future, as far as first nonprofit bookkeeping, and also the podcast and your life events, everything. I want to know everything.
I always feel like I never answer this question well, so thank you for asking it.
Okay.
Like I'm a very kind of in the moment guy, right? Like I've worked with, again, a public packaging company, one of the biggest in the world, but I didn't have a good business plan when I went out on my own, just because like I'm going to do what feels right and make it work for me, hopefully, and my family as well, and our employees, hopefully while making some money while doing it, right? Absolutely. So, definitely have short-term goals on continuing expansion, right? We want to make sure we're growing. We have been very, what's the right word, intentional about how we're trying to grow our brand and get our marketing out there.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I had never thought about till one person in my Bookkeeper Gone Wild group, Jackie, sent me was that, like, hey, sooner or later, you're not going to get Googled anymore. Everyone's going to go to their AI tool and be like, who can provide me nonprofit accounting? So like, that's something that we're spending a lot of resources now on getting in front of that. I also feel like, we are definitely still a small fish in the big pond, but the ones that are out there in our space supporting other nonprofits, we've taken over some of their work and and I'm not talking about people our size or similar or smaller or even close that's bigger, but the big ones out there, some of them are not doing a very good job, right? And we'll
Okay.
just see the information and it's very cookie cutter and that. So like really trying to get a larger slice of that pie while still maintaining that we are sticking to our values of like we are going to be partners with our nonprofit clients, right? And that relationship comes first. I'm a big adamant that like as soon as we get involved with a client, it is no longer your books and your documentation. We are here on this team. Our books are getting together. All of that stuff. That it's really that relationship gets cemented very quickly if you have the right language while you're building that relationship.
Yeah. Perfect. I wanna ask you like, how are you able just to share like with your team, like how important is the to transmit and the culture of your company what you have just said, because sometimes as you know that's something that you have in mind, but then well you're not working by yourself, you're working with a whole team. How do you do, or what do you do just to be able to share this with the entire team?
Yeah, it's again one of the things I'm most proud of is the culture that we have, and I actually spoke with another owner in my space that lives in the same state that I do in Wisconsin, and we just talked about together that it's like, boy, our margins suck, but we're really good teams and really enjoy what we're doing, right? So like we're not the most profitable firms ever, and I don't know if I'll ever be there because again, we're not supporting dentists or a high margin things. We support nonprofits, but I just think it's like it's really just living your true self every day. So but the whole reason I got into this is that I hated all the short-sighted things and bad decision making and 60-hour weeks just to do accounting for somebody else, right? I really wanted to make that my own. So like started the team and immediately said that like my first hire was a wonderful lady that I know that her and her husband and I went to high school together, and I knew she was smart and be like, you can work when you want to work. Here's what I want you to do, and eventually I'll grow you into things. And she had never known accounting, but I'm like, this is super easy and I can teach you accounting, right? Like do this one step, whatnot. But it's like starting from that all the way to now our 24th employee. Here's what our mission is, right? Like we provide the freedom to you to have fun with your job, but put your family first, right? And live that, right? So if you have something going on with your family and it's internally, but it's also with our clients too. Like we want to learn about their families. And if you're going on a trip to Jamaica with your people, next month, we want to see stories, we want to see pictures, all of that stuff so we can support it. Cause that's really the good part in life. The job facilitates that. And again, just hitting that home over and over, just gets people bought in and love it. And honestly, like, originally our best hires were either housewives or other typically females that were working long hours in an accounting job that wanted freedom. And I'm like, I can give you that, right? If you're smart, I can teach you nonprofits. It's different. It's harder in some cases than some other accounting, but I can teach you that. But I just want you to be built in or like bought into the culture and providing good work for people, and the rest of it will figure itself out.
Well, that's great. Maybe in the future they're watching, I don't know, clients or possible clients that want to reach out, but maybe there are also people that want to work with you. Actually, now I want to work with you. It seems like a great place just to work with.
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, that's great. Perfect. Let me ask you uh, a question that I probably the best question, or the question that I enjoy the most out of the typical questions that we ask here in Humans in Accounting. You know what? I've been asking this obviously in all the podcasts, but then also outside, like with friends and people, and it's a way that I've been I don't know, learning maybe. So my question is, what's a good advice that you could give maybe other entrepreneurs or people that are considering like opening their own business, or what's a good advice that maybe you could give, if this it's possible, like to you when you started all this? Well, what's a good piece of advice?
Um, Great question. And it was built up a lot, so I better have a good question answer. I would say like the whatever venture you go on, whether it's coding or otherwise, it has to be an extension of you, right?
Hmm.
And I don't know how many of my true colors that I showed to you when we were half naked in a pool in Orlando, but like I comes back to the podcast, comes back to my firm. Like I like making people laugh, And I will get to the point where as long as the other person is in a same mental space than I am, I will get to the point with a reasonable level of inappropriate things that make people laugh, right? Like that's what makes funny. I love memes. I love like jokes that people have, all of that stuff, and just being laid back in all other things. I also know like when you need to turn it on and deliver things too, right? And that's the what I needed to bring as an extension of me to this firm. And I did it poorly, and I think most people did do it poorly right away. So like right away I was like, oh, I'm an accountant and I'm starting my own firm. I better always wear these wonderful button-up shirts that I actually have on today that I try not to wear very often, but here it is. But like, yeah, like you cannot do a disservice to who you really are. So I really wish way earlier. And I think that I would have actually probably grown faster if I would have shown my true colors as a person earlier. And like, I know, especially those first couple of consultation or sales calls, right? Like I was so stuffy with things. I just think like if I could have shown who I really was, and immediately once you can make somebody laugh, everybody's walls come down. Right? Like
Absolutely.
you just want it, you're immediately connected with whatever that is. So whether again, if you're a cat lady, talk about your cats, connect on a cat level, right? If you're a jokester and a little bit of a ham like I am, show that true color and incorporate that into your firm. And again, if it repels people, those aren't the people that you want to work with anyway, and it's going to bring more people that you do want to work with to you.
I love that. And hold on, I wanted just to ask you a follow-up question. Like, was there a specific moment that you realize something happened and say, hey, maybe now I need just to do this? You listen to this podcast, you read a book, something happened, or this is something that you've been changing little by little and suddenly you realized, and then this guy, Alex at Humans in Accounting, asked you this question and you were able to answer that question?
I don't know if there was like a defining moment of inflection, honestly, but I do remember like one or two clients that I had on early, and one of them is this pair of guys that the gentleman used to actually be an actor on Comedy Central, and now runs this organization where they provide youth support services and other like mental health services for people. And I remember connecting him on a call, and he was his true self to me right away. Right.
Okay.
And I was just like, why am I not doing this? Right. Like he didn't put up any walls. Again, I enjoy cussing when it's appropriate, right? I'm not going to go into a first time meeting with somebody or this podcast and come out doing, but if you place the cuss word with the right context in the right place, I very much enjoy this. And that's who he was, right? Like came in and just gave me his true self. And I was just like, yeah, I love this guy, right? Like I immediately wanted to work with this gentleman. And like, I feel like that's how I should be on the other side of that call, right? Is that like, this is me. If you don't like that, you're not, as much as I would love your money to come in every time, something's not going to work right. It's going to end up being more time than it's worth probably on both sides. So yes, just gradually. And that was one of the points where it really felt like do it or you're doing yourself a disservice.
Okay, perfect. Great. Just last one. When is the next time that I'll see you? Are you going to go to a specific event that I'm going to tell me? Yeah, or I don't know. Or next year at Scaling New Heights? You tell me.
Yeah, I'm still throwing around Intuit Connect. My team, one of the things we do is at least like we encourage people and pay them to do like a volunteering event every year for a day, right? If they want to do that, they can take a paid day and go volunteer. So we try to give back to our nonprofit clients as much as we can. But we also try like every April, May, we do a retreat together. And then in October, we do a volunteering event. So we're doing that in Indianapolis this year at a wonderful food bank. And it's the day before Intuit Connect starts.
Okay.
And I haven't asked my wife permission to be gone for a couple of days yet. So we'll see if she listens to this podcast. Maybe this is the way I can open that door. But yeah, but I
share the link and tell her just to subscribe as well. All right.
Yeah, I'll do that. So I may be at that one. If not, I know I don't actually go. We have a fantastic sales manager, so I don't usually go to a lot of the other conferences where we're selling. And I'm not sure. I'd probably be at Scaling next year. There's also the GrowCon one that I know Bookkeeper Launch is now connecting with too. So I think those will be similar times. So maybe you can batch those two with your trip up north.
Yeah, actually, I talked with you're referring to the one of Jaime, right?
Yeah. or Jaime is going to be partnering with Roger Connect and the team over there at GrowCon, and Tyler has spoke there before and has spoke very highly of it. So I'm intrigued to check that one out as well. So yeah, that's what's on the horizon right now.
Okay, perfect. Well, looking forward. I don't know when exactly and which one of all of those, but definitely I'll see you again. And if there are listeners in the future wanting just to reach out, what's the best way to do? Obviously, they can go ahead and go to nonprofitbookkeeping.com. But is it a specific way to reach out to you directly?
No, that's a great one. And I like to open that. I'm not a great marketer, so that's why we have nonprofitbookkeeping.com. We're not creative. We just do good stuff there. Also, we've plugged in enough, but unaccountable.co or just unaccountable podcast. Again, if you like messing around and jokes and learning, that's a perfect place as well. And then LinkedIn, right? I just love connecting people that way. I think we connected initially that way and didn't realize it until we had been in the pool for an hour together that we were actually LinkedIn already mates. But it's a great way to connect with people that way too.
Perfect. Jeremy, it was a pleasure just to have you here in Humans in Accounting. I'm going to add Mexican food to the ranking. I'll let you know when I post that ranking. And yeah, looking forward just to connecting on the next event. All right.
Yeah, it sounds great. Thanks so much for the time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.